I went from a young Republican who wanted to be the president
Wow.
to a kid who has dropped out of college.
But that's honestly
This point.
exactly what the president of the United States would say.
Oh my God.
It's a great talking point,
Yes.
isn't it?
Hey,
gay
besties. You're just
Hey,
calling
gays.
me gay? Hey, fag. Oh, okay.
Hey, girly pop.
I'm Polly,
And I'm Nicole.
and welcome back to Your Gay Bestie.
Welcome back.
How have you been doing?
I've been good. Just the world of capitalism crushing my soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But other than that, I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I feel like I'm always going through it with stuff in my life, but for the most part, I'm fine.
I'm I'm super excited because we have a great guest.
Yeah, totally. I feel like people are gonna
That
listen
does
to
not
this.
convincing.
At
That was
all?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
no.
Like dead in the face. Like totally.
I need everyone to know her eyes were dead when she said
Okay,
that.
guys.
I'm so excited about that. I literally was just thinking, I'm like, everybody's gonna listen to this and be like, "Whoa, Polly and Nicole are usually so upbeat,"
And
and
we're dead.
they're like, "What is going on? Are they breaking up?"
Ah.
And then you introduced our guest who I'm so excited about.
There we go.
I'm so
There
fucking
we
excited to have him on the
go.
podcast. I'm so excited for you to be here, Chris.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
There
Thank
we
you.
go. Wow.
Sorry about that. Sorry
That was
about that.
crazy.
There's a lot
That
going
was
on in my mind. There's a war in my mind.
Okay, vocals. Okay, vocals. Come through.
Okay. We do have our friend Chris.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, tell us a little bit of something.
Okay, I'm Chris, as they've said 3 or 4 times. I'm one of your friends. I hope.
We're like, actually, after this podcast, we don't know. We might have to reevaluate.
I know. We're going to send him a survey.
I don't know.
Is this like a vote? Do I get voted off the island? Is this public voting?
It can
No,
happen.
not
I'll work
yet.
hard for it.
We don't have an app yet, but when we do,
Perfect. Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm from Texas, as some of us are here. Yep.
Fellow Texans.
Fellow
Are they
Texan.
Texans?
Yeah.
You guys are
Texans,
called
yeah.
the
what if we were all
Texans?
called Texianas?
I almost like
We're actually Texianas.
Texianas.
Please put some.
pitch that
Yeah.
to
two
them.
Texianas on the couch
Hey, Greg
today.
Abbott.
Yeah, you know how they like to sound a little gay.
I'm sure
All
Abbott
the
would
gay
love
people in
that.
Texas are called Texianas.
Ted
Oh,
Cruz
perfect.
and
That's
fucking
actually
Greg.
beautiful.
Like,
Texiana.
I think let's start that.
We're fellow Texianas.
Yep.
Wow, I feel so out of the loop because I'm not from Texas.
That's why we just actually moved closer to each
I
other.
Yeah.
We're like,
Everyone
"Oh,
is
you
literally
are."
like they're so far from me. I'm like, wow, what's going on?
Californians,
Are
please
we
stay on
breaking
that
up?
side.
Because, like,
Actually, I'm the new co-host.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'm
told
like-
you yet.
Is this a soft launch?
Hey besties, I'm Holly and he's
Like,
Chris. And this is-
damn.
okay, sorry, we
okay,
literally
so
just hijacked the
Texas.
fuck out of your intro.
I didn't have an intro prepared. Actually, I prepared so heavily for this because that's how to introduce myself. So that's okay.
Okay, wait, what's your zodiac? I feel like we need to
Yes.
share that.
Ooh, I have a little bit of a scary chart. I've been told. I'm a Pisces sun,
Okay.
Pisces rising, Libra moon.
Did I know that
Pis-
about
Pisces Mercury?
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You want the rest?
You
of them?
want
I
to
mean,
drop
know the rest
another
of
one
them.
that's
I
gonna
feel
scare
like
the
maybe
shit
try
out
to
of us?
redeem yourself.
Yeah.
Drop something redeemable.
No, there's nothing. I'm an Aquarius
Whoa.
Venus.
No
as well,
redeemable.
so, yeah.
No redeemable.
Aquarius Venus is crazy.
And Mars.
Oh my
gonna,
god,
like,
you're so
wow.
like you're so air too.
Yeah,
I did not
air,
realize
water,
that.
no
Wow.
fire, no earth, nothing tethers me to this ground.
Wow.
Nothing.
You're
I've been
playing
told I have a
away.
chart of a Love Island villain. Sorry.
I'm the entire villa. Yeah, no, you would be.
That's
You would be.
amazing.
You would literally Casa more.
Oh no.
Oh no, you're definitely Casa more.
No, listen, I don't think I mentioned this in my intro, but I always say, like, thank God I was made like a woman first because I'm transgender. And I'm also 5'4". Because if I was like born a man and I was 6 feet tall, either one of those
You would
things,
be
I would be a
too
menace.
powerful.
Yeah.
Menace to
yeah.
society.
Yeah, I
No.
was made this way for a reason.
With
Yeah.
that chart too.
Sometimes
Like,
God
well
needs to
wishes.
humble us a little bit.
Yeah, a lot
But
of it.
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad that you're here now because given your chart, I feel like how the fuck did we get you
How
in
did we
here?
get you here?
I feel nervous that you're about to leave at any second.
I was like,
So I kept my
if we
shoes
say
on.
like
Literally,
one,
yeah.
I know. It's like, yeah.
I'm like, should
The
we
shoes are
handcuff you to
on.
the chair? I'm
Chris
scared.
can run
I'm-
out the door.
I'm comfy. I'm comfy for now.
Did you lock the back
Yeah.
door?
Yeah.
Guys, the
We
more you
can't.
talk
I
about
know.
this, the more my ears are getting
She's a
hot.
runner.
and
She's
Give
a
us your
rock star.
keys.
Like,
I know.
damn.
Okay, how has
Crazy.
life been living with that chart?
I've been in therapy for 8 years. Same therapist.
Wow.
slay.
That's insane. Okay, that is insane. Same therapist for 8 years,
Yeah,
bro.
shout out Amy Kane.
Oh
She's the
my
best.
god. Damn, first and last name.
Okay.
Everyone owes her like money.
How did you find her?
Rando. She's a rando.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
my best friend gave me 3 phone numbers from her therapist.
Yeah.
And then I just picked like the coolest name.
And
Amy
stuck,
Kane
and
does
it
sound like a
stuck.
fake name.
Amy Kane, I called her Amy Kane to her face once, and she's like, do you normally do that? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, actually, my entire life, everyone's always called me my first and last name.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That would be a missed
Yeah.
opportunity as
Yeah.
fuck.
No, she's
Exactly.
cool. She's cool as shit.
Okay, and also that's divine intervention. That was that was a random like
That's
call.
crazy.
Yeah, I just
Wow.
liked her name and
Oh my god.
left her a
So
voicemail.
take notes, guys.
Yeah.
Like, if you need a therapist, just choose by like coolest name.
Yeah.
She's also like someone
Like,
you wouldn't think that like a
therapists
trans
roulette.
person of color would have as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
therapist.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's just like a 50-something-year-old white lady who lived in Venice.
Dude,
Like,
so I have a friend who's a therapist, and they were telling me that, like, sometimes finding a therapist that so closely relates to your demographic, they'll almost like fill in the blanks, the gaps of what they think your life is like.
yeah, that makes sense.
And that's what happened to me whenever I had a queer Asian, like, first generation therapist. I was sitting there telling her about my life, basically, every week. And then at the end, she was like, well, I think we should graduate you because I don't know if you telling me these life updates are just helping.
This graduate thing,
I was like,
I
just tell me you're
was
breaking up with me.
I know, but it's also
Let's
like,
graduate you to end the relationship.
it's
like,
yeah.
She did grow up in Detroit as well. She's had
Yeah.
a little bit of a
Okay.
rougher life.
There has to be some understanding.
Yeah, like she
Yeah.
understands some stuff, but at the same time, I think for my therapist, it's like she's so good. I'll say that she's a
Yeah.
good therapist, but she has a reason to like study essentially.
Right,
like
right,
she
right.
has learned absolutely everything she can. She has trans friends herself. Of course, they're like middle aged. So it's like a different generation of trans
But
folks.
I love
like,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that's
like very,
awesome.
very good. I will say.
Is
Like
she queer?
no, not at
Okay.
all. She's like a straight lady.
Whoa.
like just someone you literally. Maybe she has like a tattoo. Like
Oh my God.
you know. Like,
A single
Okay.
tattoo.
Yeah.
An alt girl.
Wow.
Yeah, she, like,
From Venice.
she definitely like has told me before, like she did like heavy drugs and stuff
Yeah.
when she was younger. So
Yeah.
I think she was like probably pretty cool.
So her third eye was
Yeah.
open.
yeah,
Yeah.
She's giving cool vibes.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was a
Like,
New Yorker for like
exactly.
15, 20
Okay.
years. Like, you know.
Yeah.
She's lived life.
Okay.
She's got some grit.
Yeah.
So she's
you
not,
need some
yeah,
grit.
because there's a very specific demographic, I feel like, who wouldn't be able to be the person that she is.
Well, it's like, why would she have to try? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
unless she's
I was
been
like,
through some
it's
stuff.
kind of rare white women.
I mean, I will say, like, I started going to this therapist before I came out as trans, and
Okay.
only briefly. Like, I was already going through something.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
didn't know what
yeah.
it was, couldn't
Right.
define it, whatever. And I told her, and I kind of saw like this, maybe like a tiny bit of panic. You know, like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
something I need to learn.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And like, I'm not gonna say it was rough at the beginning because she was always very nice and sweet, and like what she is then and what she is now
It's
in
like,
the 8 years is like
Yeah.
completely and totally
It's
different.
like-
for
You guys both
sure.
learn.
I mean, everything is an evolution. And I mean, she's a human being at the end of the day. I keep
Mhm.
seeing the same BetterHelp fucking ad
Oh,
on
shit.
YouTube. That's like,
not better
have
help.
you-
BetterHelp sponsor this
Not
podcast.
better help. Better help.
I
Don't.
mean, okay, so I do keep seeing
If
this
there's maybe
the same one that's like, therapists are people too. And every time I'm just like, this is the most condescending thing I've
Oh
ever
my
seen.
God.
I do think people like have this concept though that if like someone's a therapist, they should be giving advice all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
And
that's a
like
big
they go through
stigma.
it too, right? So it's
Yeah,
like that's what I think it's what it's trying to
I'm like,
say.
therapists
but, like,
have therapists.
Yeah,
yeah, my therapist has had her therapist for like 20 years.
exactly.
I'm like-
100%.
Everyone needs.
Do you
to
think
be-
I can invite my therapist to my wedding? I'm
Yeah.
single. I'm single, so it's like
Oh,
down the road,
absolutely.
but-
Well, at that
Yeah.
point, it would have been like what, a 14-year
yeah, hopefully.
relationship at that point between you and your
Yeah.
therapist.
My Aquarius. I had to do the math.
I was
I was like,
I was like, what math are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Well, because I'm just
What?
saying, like, if you've
Spike
seen her
of
for 8
panic.
years.
What's
It's like-
happening? When are you? You have your
How many
a
years ago
year?
from now is
When do
that?
you want to get married?
Sorry, I'm just like so fucking smart right now. But I'm just
God.
saying, I'm like, if you've known her for 8 years,
yes.
realistically, I don't think you're gonna, given the chart that you just told us that you have,
Yeah,
I don't think that
exactly.
you're about to, with your Aquarius Venus, marry somebody within a year or two
No, absolutely.
of meeting them.
I can't even.
So,
I can't even imagine moving in with someone.
yeah.
like a year or two.
Have you ever lived with
Wait.
a partner?
I have.
Okay.
Okay.
So they've at least gotten you to that point. And how
Yes.
long were you
How
guys
did they
together
get-
for?
Yeah, I was like, so there's an evolution
It is,
happening,
and
that
pre
can
therapy,
happen.
pre-therapy.
Pre-therapy.
Oh,
Pre therapy. I moved in
Wow.
with my partner, which actually now is kind of like saying something.
Do you think that you would move in with a partner if it got like serious, or like are you like, I don't really feel like that's for me?
No, absolutely, I would. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's like two wars.
You're like,
going
I
on
Yeah,
did
inside
it
of me.
once
I
and I
feel
would
like-
never fucking do it again.
No,
I'm
like
like,
there's
I
two
feel like
wars.
we were just talking about like
Yeah.
having separate, not separate lives, but like maybe a separate room, or like
I would need
partner.
my I would need my space. So it's
Totally.
like I have friends who
I mean,
who take
Aquarius,
vacation and
Yeah.
stuff, by themselves, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would need to like take a vacation by myself, but I would definitely need like some
You stay
days
your ass
alone.
at home, babe.
Yeah, yeah,
Do not
exactly.
book this flight with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't open.
I
Do
will not
not.
actually tell you where I'm even going.
yeah. I
Please
think-
don't open
Turn on your
Instagram.com.
Listen, everyone can have
God.
my location. I actually don't care.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care if y'all
God.
know where I'm going, but it's like, yeah, I think I'm open. I really want to get married. I really want kids. I really want a family life. I really would like to live with a partner. But I think given my chart and like just my experiences in the past, I also really want to go slowly with that.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Totally.
But like, I'm going to be in my mid 30s.
Love that
So
for
I think
you.
about that all the time now.
Yeah.
Especially when I start dating, I'm like kind of have to think about like I want kids.
You have to do it
So,
intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super intentionally. If someone doesn't want kids, I'm kind of like,
We were
Yeah.
literally just talking about
Yes.
just before we started recording that there are people who maybe like there's a cat in a situation dating a
Right.
person with a dog in a
It's
situation
like,
who don't necessarily like
Mhm.
maybe each other's animals or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a
That's
hard
a-
stop for me, bro.
yeah,
yeah.
you have
That's
to take all of that in
crazy.
consideration. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like now I'm trying to like go for the long haul. So
Yeah,
it's like,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I mean, you can only want that when you're getting older, like learning from all of your experiences. Because somebody said that I've lived with 2 other partners.
Oh,
I literally the other day was
wow.
like talking to Polly, and I was like, "Wait, how many partners have you lived with?" And then
Too
I was
many.
like,
Too many.
"Dang."
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this was
Like, no, this is my third.
yeah, and
I was like,
it's
"Damn,
and it's
bitch."
my best because
yeah,
of all the
sweet, sweet.
fucking things.
You
You
said
know,
evolution and evolve.
yeah. Would I suggest living with 3 different partners? Only if you're the
I've never even
strong,
lived with a partner.
independent woman like me.
God's
I guess
strongest
not
warrior.
independent. I
God's
guess
strongest warrior
only
over
if you're
here.
a strong, codependent woman like
Yeah.
me.
I wasn't gonna say it. I'm so glad you did. But yeah.
But I think also I was like
That's great.
really young. I was really young. I also was very influenced by the fact that I had no money, and so out of
Yeah.
necessity, I was
fair.
like,
I was gonna say that.
You're
I was gonna like kind of joke
Yeah.
about that at
Yeah.
first, and I was like, actually, I want people to know the real me.
yeah,
But
yeah.
my joke was gonna be like, guys, we live in LA. Of course, I want to live with a partner. Like, I want a bigger
You're
apartment.
like, the rent, babe.
sure.
The
Would
rent.
would love central cooling. Like,
Ah,
I can only do that
I
with a
need
partner.
Central AC.
Honestly, the only reason
Public
why I would
service
be in a
announcement.
polycule is to fucking save money. Honestly,
Not a
at this point,
polycule.
Not a
That's too
polycule.
much. I'm
I'm like,
sorry.
70 of you guys want to be in
Oh
a
my
relationship with
God.
me? Beautiful. My rent's gonna be $20 a month.
Screaming.
But yeah, you can only evolve. Everything is an evolution. Your
Yeah.
8-year relationship.
That's
I
my
just, like,
longest
am s-
relationship.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't
Talk
even
about-
think.
I mean, it shows you can commit
No, literally.
True.
to something.
Yeah, I don't even think my
It's
oldest
something.
best friend of 20 something years even knows me as much as an 8-year therapist would, you know?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
one on
that's,
this
like,
planet
deep.
that knows me better than that
That's
woman.
insane.
Like even my own parents. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I talked to her on a different level.
Yeah.
So it's
How
pretty
many
crazy.
therapists did you have before her?
She's my one and only baby. So I can do it.
Your
Wow.
first?
One and only.
Oh my gosh.
Some may say it was
Wow.
fate.
That, yeah, no, divine
Wow.
intervention as fuck. And like, what compelled you
beautiful.
to seek a therapist? Were you just like, it's time, or were you going through something?
I was going through something. I was living with my partner. I don't really want to talk
Wait,
about
were
this
you-
Yeah,
partner.
yeah, we don't
but-
have to.
But we were going through it, I will say.
Yeah.
And, in a sort of roundabout way, my partner was like, I think you need to seek help. So I was like,
Yeah.
for the record,
Oh,
for the
wow.
record, this was not a great relationship.
Yeah.
And I think they could see that I was struggling with coming out as trans.
Totally.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
went about it in the wrong way. They told me the wrong way. However, it was beneficial to me, obviously.
Right.
To go to therapy, and it really helped me come out as
Yeah.
trans.
You
so
in LA or Texas?
LA,
Okay.
yeah, I've lived here for 12 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how Okay, we won't talk about that relationship.
I mean, okay, ask your questions.
I was just
I'll
going to
answer.
ask you, how
Yeah.
long were you with this person?
3 years. Yeah.
3
Okay,
years, and you decided that you wanted to transition towards the tail end of that 3 years.
Right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We
Yeah.
started dating. We met. Okay, I guess I will talk about this.
Sorry.
relationship. No, it's
I
okay. It's
know,
okay.
We can
I know.
even
I
cut
know.
this out
if you
No,
don't
totally.
want to.
No, I know
Yeah.
exactly how to
Yeah.
skirt around things.
Yeah.
majored in
Perfect.
rhetoric,
Beautiful.
so-
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that about you.
Yeah. But yeah, me and that ex partner. We met by doing the 36
Wait.
questions to fall in love
What is
Wait,
that?
what is
on
that?
camera. Have you never heard of this? Okay, in New York Times published this thing back in the day. I
Oh
think it
my
was like
God, what?
2015.
You guys.
It was
Do
like
I need to do this?
I don't suggest it.
Yeah, apparently not.
But do you if you want? Just
I'm
be
like,
careful.
do I want a traumatic 3-year relationship? Maybe not.
Yeah, like so my very 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 best friend, she loves to remember and forget this because like it was my worst relationship ever. But my very 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 best friend Alex, she was a grad student at the time at USC, and she was doing a reality TV class,
Oh, nice.
and she needed to do like her final essentially and it was on camera, studio setup, and she was bringing couples to do the 36 questions to fall in love.
Oh.
36 questions to fall in love is 36 questions that range from very basic like favorite color
Yep.
Okay.
to like who if they died right now would be the most
Oh my
important
God.
person in your life and would impact you the most. Like
So this is a
Yikes.
regular Tuesday night. If you're hanging out with me and we're not really strangers.
yeah.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
and then you have to stare at them in the eyes for 4
Literally.
minutes without talking.
Did you cry?
I was giggling. I was
Oh, okay,
laughing the whole
okay.
time. It was really
I was
difficult.
like,
that
how
was
can
difficult.
you take that
Yeah.
seriously?
It was difficult.
No, I would
And
be
you
crying.
sit like in chair like this.
How close
knee
in
to knee.
proximity are you?
Oh.
You sit almost knee to knee, like
Oh my
maybe
God.
within
Oh.
inches of each
It's
other.
like those video. I've seen those like things where like I forgot what it's called on Instagram, but they like break up and they bring the couple back.
Oh,
together.
yeah.
And they're like this close and like, do you
I would
want to get
throw
back
up.
together? Let's talk about our like traumatic relationship.
And then you talk about like your new partner.
Yeah, and then they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
apologizing and shit, but they
Oh
are
my
like
God.
to me, and it's like so intense.
mean,
That's like demonic.
the point of this whole thing, the study,
Yeah.
everything was like, can you get to know someone in these questions? Like these questions supposed to imitate 6 months of intimacy,
Okay.
essentially,
Oh,
like
yeah.
intimate questions, and so that you kind of like I forgot what the percentage is, some crazy percentage, like
Mhm.
over half, like I think it was
Mhm.
like something like 80% of the people who did this exact
Mhm.
study fell in love
With the person.
with the person they did the study with. They can be
80%,
complete
that's
strangers.
pretty high.
That-
Something crazy. Don't quote me on that number, but
is-
it's something crazy like that.
That's
Some-
crazy.
Oh my God. Did you
Yeah.
know that before going into this?
Or
I-
did you
I was-
did you know the person also, or
No,
like
not
how
at
do
all.
they match
Complete-
you with?
Complete
Yeah.
stranger. Complete stranger.
Oh, how
Like-
were they matching?
I feel
you
like there should be
guys?
some kind of legality, like clause
No, they should.
I
around
mean,
this.
yeah,
we
there
were-
should be a lawsuit.
We were 20. Alex, I'm coming for you.
Like-
No, just
Where's
kidding,
the
love
lawsuit?
You better
thing?
lawyer up, Alex.
Like,
Love you.
hello. That is
No,
yeah.
I was 25 years old. I'm sure. Let's see. This person was like Alex's friend's friend or something. You know what I mean? Like, it
like there was like
not-
some degrees of
Yeah,
separation
yeah,
where it's
totally.
like you're not going to be falling in love with like a domestic terrorist.
like she didn't go on the street and was like, "Do you want to go on this thing?
Okay.
You know, are you gay and do you want to go on this
Yeah,
thing?" Like, she
yeah.
wasn't like, yeah,
There's a vetting system, thank God. But
Yeah.
clearly not good enough.
not good enough, but yeah, close enough.
but close. Edging a little.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was like a friend's friend or whatever.
Okay,
No.
so a few degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
Kind of.
Okay, not
so
really.
would you say that you fell in love? In what like stage of in love? Were you leaving like, oh my God, like I'm obsessed with this person?
Yeah, this is ooh.
Kind of meanly no, but
Okay.
like
Okay.
you know, I think
So it was,
it grew into something that I would
Okay.
call love.
yeah.
Okay.
But we were young. Like I was 25, they were 21, 22, younger than me.
Jeez.
You know, and so I think like we had this impression of what love should be.
Yeah.
And I think our relationship was very difficult. And every time we fought, we saw it as sort of like, well, we got past this fight, so we're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of deal.
That's-
And it
yeah.
just wasn't, you know, I was going through a lot coming out as trans. They have a lot going on mentally.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you know, full discretion, they're incredibly depressed. So, you know, they were going through a lot.
21's also
also-
an insane age to
Yeah.
be in a full
Yeah.
relationship
I think
with
they were
somebody.
22, but close enough.
But still,
But
like,
yeah.
a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, a baby,
God.
essentially. And so it's like, yeah, I think we're just too young. And do I look back now and think I would ever like have been with this person? I think the answer is no.
Right.
Okay.
But that was like me not anything on them. That was like me not being honest. with
Yeah.
myself.
But also
Yeah.
hindsight is, you know, and
You know,
also the age that you are now, it's like,
totally.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to be in a relationship, and I think
Right.
that's
That's
the same for like
Was
a
that
lot
your-
of 20-something year olds.
Yeah.
was that your first like real relationship?
No.
Real is obviously a subjective word, but
My longest,
Or like serious. I think
serious
is
for
maybe
sure.
a
Yeah.
better
Most
word.
serious.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
serious
Okay.
relationship. Yeah.
wow. Okay, so moving out of that, going
Mhm.
into realizing that you're like, hey, this is a feeling that I've been having internally, and now I want to actualize
Mhm.
my transition.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was a little bit like rough, and I will have to say to give like this person their laurels. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
they were okay. So I'm using they them pronouns for them right now,
Right.
Because
just anonymity.
they actually came out as trans themselves.
Oh,
wow.
That's sort of, I think that is sort of like when that happened, I was like, oh yeah, no shit, no wonder this was an awful relationship.
it was almost like
Yeah.
projecting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%
Yeah.
projecting, and like, do I want to be them? Do I want to fuck them? Like that kind of idea, you know, and like,
wow.
and yeah, and so to see that happen, like, you know, I'm not in contact with this person at all. I don't want to be,
Yeah.
but it does make me feel like a little bit better for them. Like I'm like, oh, okay, at least they're like kind of figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
Totally.
But for myself, like when I came out in that relationship, they had a lot of knowledge on like, you know, like binders and da da da. I'm like, now I'm like, oh duh. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. No wonder you knew about all this trans stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they really did help me. They did,
Yeah.
you know, and I started as a they them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a funny. There is a video on the internet that I did not tell you guys about before this podcast.
Oh my
but
gosh.
my
I'm
friend, one of my
scared.
friends laughs all. No, it's cheesy and funny, but one of my friends laughs about this all the time because when I was a they them, I was very vocal about like being trans,
Yeah.
essentially. But I made this video that was like, "What's the X in Latin X?" And it's like a Me Too video. And I pop onto the screen. I'm like me, and I like describe what a non-binary
Oh,
person
oh my
is.
god.
That's so
And I
cute.
literally thought this was never gonna see the light of day, or like, you know, minimal
Yeah.
impressions.
Did it go viral?
It went viral,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
actually played at every non-profit's like orientation. Essentially, like
What?
my friend who's a non-profit has seen it at least 10 times in the last like
We have
5
to
or
find
6
this
years.
video.
Holy
Like,
shit.
I'm not gonna help you guys find this video, but you can
if
find
we
it.
if we find it,
It kind of seems like it's something that we could Google.
You could easily find
Yeah.
this video. Yeah.
Do you
okay.
get paid for
I
every
was like,
time they
act-
use it?
No.
actor.
No, definitely not. They didn't even pay me to do it.
Oh my god.
It was
Yeah.
like a silly little like.
Well, at least your legacy is trying to help people understand the X and Latinx.
The X and Latinx. Yeah, yeah. But I'm not even a they them anymore.
So what? Yeah, tell us about
Yeah.
your journey from going from being like I do not adhere to any
Mhm.
like I mean
Yeah.
you do adhere to pronouns, but like I
Yeah.
do not adhere to gendered pronouns. To
Yeah.
how you're because you're now he him.
He, him.
Mhm.
hmm And like very masculine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever that means.
Were you
actually, but-
presenting as super mask when you were they them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. My real trajectory is obviously starts as a lesbian.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say it was
So-
like lesbian.
Yeah, if you want to like go further back.
Yeah.
I'll take a step back.
Yeah. I was definitely a lesbian, and everyone in high school knew I was a lesbian. I didn't. But
Wait, what age did you come out?
I came out at 20.
Okay.
Yeah. But in high school, I was Polly's favorite subject, a young Republican.
I love this.
Drum
The lore,
roll.
Chris's lore is insane.
I know. I feel like I'm like you've lived lives.
Yeah, some might say.
Can I try to find it and then you
Please.
tell us?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
A young Republican is a young kid, young person being like,
Mm.
yeah, like George Bush or whatever Republican,
Like,
politician was
okay.
in office on steroids. It's like the ROTC plus no
Yeah.
guns and just trying to make people other people Republicans as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit like akin to like maybe Christianity almost.
I was
Like,
gonna
It
say
was-
it was like it sounds like you were trying to
like a youth
build
pastor.
cult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were trying to convert
Recruiting
people.
and converting people
Yeah.
to Republican.
I will say,
Republicanism.
I think, okay, when I was 12 years old, I really legitimately in my brain thought I was going to be the president of this country. And like, there was no doubt in my mind
Okay.
that was going to happen.
And you still could
And
be.
you
No, thank you.
Next,
I don't believe in
next
politicians
year.
You can
anymore.
change our
Yeah,
lives.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Vote
but
Chris.
I really, vote me, but also don't.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to be the president of this country.
Oh my god.
Have you heard my chart?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
literally.
be very concerned.
Okay, we have a Scorpio president right now. Somebody said that should have never happened.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I legitimately thought I was gonna be the president of this country, and like, so did lots of adults for some reason. So like, it kind of
Wow.
I
bolstered
could
me.
see it.
Like
I
you
could
were like
see
on
it.
a political track
Yeah.
at like 12.
And then literally,
Like what?
I didn't drink.
You're
I
like,
didn't
no
go
hobbies.
to parties.
I'm running.
Only the hobbies that would bolster my resume.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of kid. I think that's
Wow.
what a young Republican is. It's
Yeah.
like a really overly
I just
ambitious
think about
child.
like the kids in high school that were like in student council and
I
were,
was in
like,
student council, and I was the class president,
yeah, like
and I was the
doing
president of the
most.
President's Club.
Yeah, totally.
And just,
and I
like,
was
goody
Business Professionals of
two-shoes.
America, and I was a Junior Statesman of America, and I was
Okay,
a theater
so-
director, and I was the band director.
Somebody needed to stop you.
Someone put him on the ballot. That is crazy.
I was in 7 or 8
Were your
clubs.
parents like,
Yeah, what
is
were they?
happening?
Yeah, were they like?
Guys, my parents didn't give a shit. That's the problem. Like they,
Oh, so you were like they
I
were
never
like
went to
encouraging
school.
this.
Do you think if they did give a shit, you would be like, I don't need to be in 74 clubs?
yeah, they'd probably wonder why I was so stressed out all the time.
Yeah. Was it for you, or were you trying to prove something?
Well, isn't that the question? I think now that in my
Yeah.
30s, I think I was trying to prove something.
Yeah.
Right? But also, weirdly enough, I never went to school. I academically skipped a lot. So,
So, like, I was a personality
confused.
hire. I
Yeah.
wasn't the actual student.
What?
yeah, literally.
What the fuck?
But I did run like a lot of like the clubs that I was in.
Mhm.
Like I think my high school is very corrupt.
Mhm.
In a lot of ways, but like because I was a student who's so involved in things, I
Mhm.
would always do the budgets for these teachers. You know that like teachers
Yeah.
in high school clubs get a stipend if they
Yeah,
do
yeah.
a club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would do like a lot of their budgets. I would do a lot of the fundraising without them.
Wow.
Like the teacher could like kick back, feet up on the desk, like, and I would run the club. Right. And so I never had to go to school because I was always doing something.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's
They just gave me the
crazy.
grades that I needed.
They're like A. He's running everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they get their
It's
little
fine.
$2,000 stipend at the end
Yeah,
of the
you're
year,
like,
like they're
the
chill.
stipends, the
You're like,
checks
this is
being
actually my
made.
personal assistant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Put him on the payroll.
But the funny thing is, like,
Please.
I wasn't like a teacher's pet either, because like I didn't.
I mean, how could you? You're in 75 clubs.
Well, also, I just think
Where's
I
the
could. I
time?
knew what I could get from them.
I feel like I could see you as a teacher's pet for some
I
reason.
really
I
wasn't.
actually could too.
There was a teacher's pet. She hated me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you
God.
guys like fight to the death or what?
Oh yeah, she tried to out me as a lesbian. To circle back to gay
What?
things. Yeah. Yeah.
This is for you,
What?
bitch. This one is for you. That's
tried to-
fucked
She
up.
tried to
That's
out
fucked
me as a
up.
lesbian in front of the entire school.
In high school?
In high school.
What?
Yeah.
In front, is this Mean Girls? Like, was this a
was
fucking
They're
so
like at a
dramatic.
pep rally or like
Yeah.
at an assembly.
Oh
being-
no, we were at something so much better. Polly will probably know what this is, but I don't know if you will, Nick. We were at Shattered Dreams. I don't know if you ever
fuck
heard
is
of this.
that?
What
Okay.
is- ooh,
So Shattered Dreams is when they'll bring the juniors and seniors out before prom, and then they put like a crashed car scene. So it'll be like 2 cars.
Yes, I
an
have.
ambulance.
Yes, we
No,
had this
that
at our
does not
school
exist in
too.
California
Yeah.
It's like
school
they're
system.
basically trying to teach you not to drink and drive by scaring the absolute fucking shit
Yeah.
out of you.
Was it a real car?
They were real
Yeah.
cars. It was like a theatrical
And
setup.
it was like, and
essentially.
people. Did you have like fake people who were dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like students, like some of the
Oh my
students.
God.
It was a
God.
play,
It was like a play,
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think our school went as far as to have an assembly afterwards and had picked those students to be like write letters to your parents as to why you chose to drink and drive.
Oh my god.
Stuff like that.
That's
Yeah.
Oh my
pretty
god.
God.
Where was
Maniacal
HR?
already.
when you
Texas,
fucking
man. It's
needed them,
big
bitch?
different over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she tried to out me at that event. It was the junior.
And he was gay.
Yeah.
he drank.
Like
he drank and
what?
drove, and he was gay.
Yeah.
You're like, when you write a letter to your mom, tell her you're gay.
Yeah, don't forget to include you're a fag.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
She tried. She
What?
tried to out me there. It didn't work.
What did she do? Like she got on the microphone and was like,
Yeah,
No. It was more like we actually weren't
Or
in
was it like
Shattered
a
Dreams.
rumor?
oh,
It was
in
a
the
rumor
rumor
for sure. I
mill?
always had the prettiest best friends. Duh.
Okay.
Head cheerleaders,
Holla.
theater actresses.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Period.
like I would definitely was a dyke, guys. Like definitely
Yeah.
was gay. I played softball for like 10 years. Like, come on. Like I would
Yeah.
definitely a
Right.
lesbian. But
Softball is literally
Like it's giving
gateway.
Bet Porter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
Yes.
much.
Why are
In
you
a
doing
Letterman
all
jacket.
these things?
But,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What
she
the
tried to out me
fuck?
and just in the crowd. Like we weren't like microphoned or anything.
Okay.
or
Ew,
mic'd
so
up.
she was a
Okay.
freak just yelling this? Like,
It almost looked like we were gonna get into a fight essentially because she was mad
Oh.
at something that I did. I don't even remember what it was at this point. I was 17 years
she's
old.
like,
She's
no,
actually-
I'm a head lesbian.
She's also
Yeah,
a lesbian.
she's like,
I
no,
feel
I'm the
she's,
teacher's
like,
pet.
Literally
say.
fighting for your attention.
Do you know anything about her
That
life
would be
now?
interesting. I know a lot about her life.
I'm like,
Ooh.
Thanks
is
to
she
internet.
gay now?
No, she has a kid. She's doing quite well, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe
which,
she was just a homophobic bitch.
yeah, I don't know. I like basically I made it my mission at that point when she tried to do that to like also kind of like take away all her clubs because she was also in a bunch of clubs like me,
Damn, period.
and it started like a whole
Oh
war.
my God.
No, that's what I
the
would do.
war.
Yeah, it started because she was the student. She was the student body president. I was the
Okay.
class president.
Were you guys in the same grade?
We were in the same grade.
Okay.
Oh my god, y'all were
And
literally enemies.
We were sort of we're super mortal enemies, some might say.
That's wild.
And when she did that to me, she tried to out me in front of everyone. She's like, "And you're a fucking lesbian." And I just got really quiet. Everyone got really quiet. I walked up to her and said, "I will take everything."
Yes!
And I-
It's literally so Bet Porter. It's
Yes.
crazy.
And I'll date your best friend, bitch.
Wow.
So what I ended up doing is like, so I was also in student body,
Yeah.
I
student
will
government,
take everything.
but I was so dramatic as a kid.
Iconic.
Triple fucking Pisces in theater.
Yeah,
like, of
you're
course I
like
said that.
Iconic.
But
Dang,
I
will take
basically like
everything.
she was a student body president, right? And then I was not in student body yet, like wasn't in the government yet. But I was
Okay.
like, oh, I should probably do that. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, again, resume
Just
builder.
add it to the resume.
Yeah,
that is
but
being built.
I noticed we didn't have like a student senate, and so
Only
I-
you would know
Did
that.
you not? Oh my God! Did you build?
I built a senate,
Oh my God!
put in
Oh my
put in
God!
all the kids who would listen to me.
This is crazy.
So you're literally the United States of America.
Like,
yeah,
what?
I then was like, guys, we don't have a senate. That's crazy. Everywhere else does. Da da da. All this stuff. And so built one, whatever.
How
and
long
then-
did this take?
This is a
to
year-long project.
exact your event.
I'm like,
This is a year-long project.
oh my god!
and then what I ended up
I can't
doing
believe
was
this right now.
I put up a like an amendment to the student constitution.
Damn,
that we had.
bitch. You were not playing.
I had them all
games.
vote for it, and I put fucking term limits so she could no longer be the student body president senior year. Don't
Talk
fuck with me.
Oh,
Talk about
my
This is why I'm not allowed to be the president of the United States. I'm a petty bitch. Like,
because you become a dictator.
That is
Holy
this is why
shit!
no one should vote for me.
threaten me again.
No, I would vote for you. Okay, just because first of all,
Holy
I would have to know that I
shit.
was a part of the in group. I would have to know that I was like indispensable,
Yeah.
and then I would vote for you because damn, I do not want you to come for me, bitch. I'm scared.
I think honestly, I was such a
The
rageful
wrath.
little teenager.
The
Like,
wrath
Yeah.
of the Pisces.
yeah, that was like the closeted homosexual,
Wow.
Yeah.
like mad at my hometown because we
Yeah.
didn't even have a Starbucks until I was 18 years old. Like
Right,
it was a little
right.
nothing
Yeah.
town, like
Same.
so boring, you know. So what else was I gonna do but like
Totally.
play politics?
Well, when I was in high school, I was as spiteful and vengeful, but I did it in such a mean girl heterosexual way.
Mhm.
So basically, there was one time when I was dating this guy. I was a freshman, and this was like my first high school relationship. He was a junior. He was like the hottest thing to me. Now I realize it's because he looked like a lesbian when we were, and I thought he was so hot.
Was he like
okay?
a little
I
rat boy or
cannot.
He
like
was
a Timothy Chalamet?
He
or
was
like
like
Oh
a
my
he
God,
was
not
like a
the
very
rat boy.
Timothy Chalamet, and he
Okay.
like skated and like
yeah,
he was
No.
like he was like shorter, but like he was like a cool guy.
he's like a little trans mask. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Little boy.
literally looked like oh my god, he looked like AFAB for sure. And I was like so obsessed with him, and I was like so obsessed with the fact that he liked me because I thought I was so cool as a freshman, right? Dating this junior, he could drive, whatever. We dated for like a month, and then the girl that he was like friends with or whatever, I was like, what's going on? Like, I think that they like each other, something, whatever. So I was in marching band, right? And
me too. Don't worry, me
Yeah.
too. It's a
Wow.
thing you do. It's a
The
thing you
way
do in
that
Texas.
We've had dramatically
I know.
different high
Well,
school
I was like
experiences. It's
marching
crazy.
band. I was in track. I made like varsity as a cheerleader when I was a freshman. And
was
I
a
was
big
the
deal in
only
Texas.
one, yes, because my back tucks were so high because I was a gymnast.
Get it, girl.
I know, and then I
don't know
got
what
kicked
any
out
of
of it.
that means, but go on.
Yeah, and then I got kicked out of it because of my grades, and I also got like arrested. Okay,
Oh.
whatever.
What?
Yes. Okay,
You got
and so I got that taken away from me, but I got to stay in like track, and I got to stay in like band. So I watched him and her sit at a football game together while I was on the fucking field marching.
Oh
And
no!
I was like, they're gonna date.
What
And
did you
then
play?
I was in the drum line,
Oh, sick.
but I was on the cymbal
that's sick.
line.
Okay, not as sick, but sick.
So I was like one of the three girls like twirling their shit
Woo,
around.
yeah.
But then during concert band, I was like a freak in the fucking sheets with my mallets, like for
Okay, marimba player.
Yes.
Gosh.
I cannot tell you the amount of times I've Googled where to rent a marimba, Los Angeles.
I want you to have marimba so bad.
Can someone
get that?
someone
So,
please
yeah,
this $3,000
we
fucking instrument that will take up my whole living room.
Just say it's like also the size of
I'm
your
just
couch.
like two
How
mallets in
soothing.
each hand.
I think Eric would break up with you.
I'm
Sorry.
like,
Okay, imagine if I had a xylophone. God, she would fucking take out a restraining order against me. Okay, so I watched them and I was like, God, fucking, there's something happening there. And then my parents, because my grades were slipping, made us break up. And then him and that girl started dating. And I was like, oh, fuck no, bitch. She was a junior. I was like, fuck no. So what I did
he
to
dated
exact
in his
revenge-
age bracket.
Yeah, he did. He dated.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some
he
might
did.
say it was correct.
Yeah,
But
I would say
yeah.
that is correct
Yeah.
and appropriate.
But
Exactly.
Polly's the hero of this
But
story.
he was
so continue.
only 1 year older than me because I was older in my grade. He was younger in his grade.
Oh, okay.
So then I was like, what can I do? And
Oh, no.
where Chris was like, I'm going to go so political with this shit, I literally was like, I texted him. I was like, I miss you. Because he was a serial tutor.
Not
He was
that-
a serial
okay.
tutor.
I miss
I said,
you.
I miss you, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's hang out at the baseball game. I knew we were going to like frick. We fricked at the baseball game.
Oh,
The
my
whole
God.
baseball game
shit.
in the church parking lot in his car. They were like, every car spot was taken. It was so fucking packed.
Oh my god.
And then at the end, he was like, texting me, he's like, Pollyanna Shoe, my friend, please do not tell anybody. The next day, I had bitches chasing me down the hallway
Please
Oh
shut
my
up.
God.
because I texted everyone. I was like, guess what happened yesterday?
Shit.
You said mass
Damn.
text.
Okay.
Guess who I fricked in the
Okay,
parking
but
lot?
I knew I needed evidence. So, oh my god,
Not evidence.
Did
Okay.
you take a photo?
no, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm literally
my
saying
God.
this right now.
What did you do?
I was on my period. I take
Menace
my
to
period, my fucking tampon out, and I threw it under the car.
Oh, okay.
And I said, if
DNA
y'all-
evidence.
I was like, where's this going?
Yeah.
And
So they took it back to the lab. I'm just
Run the forensics.
No.
It was
happening?
me.
So then-
in this bitch.
my friend who was in cross country, they ran around the perimeter of the school, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Did you see the tampon in the
You planted
Not
an
in the-
alibi. You planted an alibi. That's
You
criminal
literally
mastermind.
dude?" Yeah, and she was like, "Yeah, I saw that." I was like, "That's me."
Oh my god. Together, I could be the president and you could be like in the mafia.
Wow.
We'd end up like Mexico and
We
cartel, but it's
would-
okay.
That is insane.
We would literally run the rule. Yeah,
yeah,
it would be
good thing. We don't do this.
scary,
I'm
very,
like,
very
that's
scary.
actually really
I would
scary.
be the
I'd
underbelly,
terrified.
and you would be the political,
Yeah,
my
the-
political
The
mouthpiece.
puppet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm like, what do you need done?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, excuse me, I need you to take them out.
So yeah, that's a little about me.
Nicole. Are you
Tell us
scared right
tell
now?
us your worst
I am
secret.
an angel.
Yeah. It's like, are you terrified right now?
I know.
I'm worried.
She's like, I have to
I'm
leave.
worried about my well-being on this couch right now. I will never wrong
Okay.
anyone on this side of the room.
The-
I'm scared of what will come
At
out
our capabilities.
if I ever wrong Chris or Polly. So I'm an angel.
I mean, it happens. So that when you're young, you're like, I will stop at
A menace.
nothing.
Yeah.
I will stop at literal the criminal activity. I will do it if
And
I
we are
have to.
so bored.
That's
Yeah.
We grew up similarly.
Oh my
We're
god,
so
that's
bored.
the thing. It's like I'm giving you bitches something to talk about.
Yeah,
I should
we
be
had-
paid for this, bro.
We had no
You said,
like
I'm bringing the rumors. I'm bringing
Yeah.
it all, babes.
we had like no
I'm
like my
being the
movie
theatrics.
theater didn't
I'm
even
being
get
on a
movies.
show.
Like we got like barely got any.
How many
movies
people
that
did you
year.
graduate high school with?
A lot.
Oh, okay. Was it the
400.
only high school?
Yeah.
400 in your class.
400 in my class.
Wait,
Oh, I see. I
So,
see. That
it's
is a
like-
lot.
Big school.
Where you're from considered like, can you like equate it to like is it small town vibes? Like,
Sure.
I just don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm good.
not a Texan.
Yeah.
Obviously.
sure.
Tell the people
So I
what
need
it
to
was
like,
like.
I need context.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty good at this particular thing because even people in Texas barely know. Like,
I didn't even know what the Rio Grande Valley was
Yeah.
until like maybe 2 years ago.
yeah, I heard that a
And
lot.
I grew up in
Oh.
Texas.
Yeah, I heard that a lot growing up. So essentially, the Rio Grande Valley,
Okay.
RGV, Puro 956, shout
Ooh.
out. But the RGV is like a strip of land
Okay.
starting from one town, I guess, like Rio Grande City, but no one knows that one. Sorry,
Yeah,
if you're
I've
from
never
Rio Grande
even
City.
fucking. I mean, I'm sure you guys are beautiful there.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Stunning. I'm sure your Walmart is the cleanest Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The biggest Walmart.
Yeah, the biggest, cleanest Walmart you've ever
You have the
seen.
most guns there.
Yeah. But yeah, so it starts from like this one town all the way down to like the very, 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 very tip of Texas.
Is South Padre considered?
South Padre is considered like South Padre Island
okay.
is our barrier island right off the Texas coast. People go there for spring break.
Okay.
But and like
Yes.
the draw of going to spring break there is that there's a
Mhm.
beach. It's very cheap, but you can also go to Mexico.
It's also the dirtiest
Oh.
beach I've ever seen in my entire life.
No, that's Corpus Christi.
I've never been to Corpus Christi actually.
Shh. We
Don't
say
go.
that's
We-
Corpus Christi. No, it is. It's so you can actually drive on this beach,
Oh.
which is like kind of attributes to dirtiness. But
Yeah, that would make sense.
That
yeah.
makes a lot of
also, there's a
sense.
rich side of the beach and a poor side of the beach. We used to say this all
Is
the
it a
time.
big like? Is it big or like?
Okay, so the Rio Grande Valley itself is like
long
100
stretch.
miles. Yeah, so it's
Okay.
like big, but there's
Yeah.
20, 30 towns in between.
In between.
There's two big towns, McAllen and Brownsville.
Yeah.
And those are the two that people might have heard in the news at this point. Because Brownsville is like on the border, it has a bridge, stuff like that. And there's some politics going on there. Elon Musk just moved there. It's incredibly detrimental to
To
my area.
Brownsville?
He has moved SpaceX to Brownsville. So we've
my
been
God.
lately a little bit in the news, but
I didn't know
until all of this started happening, I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, literally no one had ever heard of us.
Yeah.
But there's about 1 million people there.
Okay.
Yeah.
My personal town where my parents live is about 250,000. So I would equate it to
Yeah,
like
that's
the
like-
size of Glendale,
Okay.
Burbank. Yeah, the Rio Grande Valley is like also very economically depressed. We didn't have a lot of stuff going on.
Were there a lot of gay people or like?
There are now, which I think is really
Oh, that's
interesting,
interesting.
and really beautiful. They have a thriving community there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like in high school and growing up, like it was like
No, definitely
no.
not. Especially in Texas, like you just can't be gay in Texas. Like that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
coming
That's
out
like
was
the
very
law.
hard.
I feel like there.
It was
I mean,
very
they're
bold
trying
and-
to make it the law.
Yeah, it was very bold and brave
Yeah.
back in the early 2000s to come out of
Mhm.
any form. So
My lesbian friends from high school,
Mhm.
I had 2 lesbian friends from high school, and they're both trans men now.
really, I actually knew they weren't like out lesbians. I guess they're kind of similar to me, but they
Mhm.
were to me more visibly lesbian in high school, and they're both trans men.
Were
now
they
as
older
well.
than you?
No, they're my grade.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Oh.
What grade did you graduate?
What year did I graduate?
Yeah.
What grade? did
Well,
you-
okay. Also,
What
given what
grade-
you just told me, it is very possible you graduated in the 9th grade. Like,
I'm like, were you on accelerated? You went to college?
no,
like,
guys,
super accelerated.
I think I have forgotten to tell you that I'm actually kind of dumb. Like I never went to school.
I mean, you're actually very smart in
no,
other
I
ways.
feel
I feel
very
like.
smart.
Yeah.
But also, I am like hearing your story. I'm like, well, how did you go from like young Republican
Mhm.
to now like a top? Like I don't know what your job is.
To
but
now
I
a
just feel
top.
like-
How do you go from that?
I mean,
Some
are you
things
also
say-
top?
to
She's
working
flustered.
to working
like,
to working in the industry?
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't. I'm just like, oh, how did we get there?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's a confusing journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you go to college? Like, what's your degree in?
You have so
Are
many
you guys
questions.
flirting right now?
I feel like I'm being flirted
I'm
with.
just like,
She's
I'm
flustered.
just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
She's like, and
I
also,
want to understand you more.
I'll put you out of your misery.
she's also, are we playing 39 questions right now?
I told you I'd never do that again.
I'm
so
like subtly.
Yeah, actually, this is
Suddenly
what we
ask-
brought you here
asking
for.
questions.
no, I get your question.
Yeah.
How the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
Question?
The young Republican to trans man pipeline is
Pipeline.
insane.
Yeah, I think it definitely was a journey. That's for sure. Like I said, I knew very early on that I wanted to be a politician, and I think when you're that kind of bullheaded kid, you don't like leave room for deviation.
Yeah.
And so, I think I was really in denial in high school, like over all my little crushes on girlfriends
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and just talked it up to like I literally used to say like I don't have time.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time for I was like 16.
You're like running
You're like,
away from
I'm
something.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like you're like stressed and you're like,
Yeah. So when I got to college, I went to college in Austin,
okay.
which if you guys don't know, Austin is like the liberal bastion of
It
Texas.
is. Yeah. It's like the only place that you can be gay, basically, in
Yeah.
Texas.
And Houston, I think a
Yeah.
little bit.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I always forget about Houston for some reason.
I know, but people do, but actually it's kind of lit.
Yeah, I think it's underrated.
I like Houston better than Austin, I'm going to say it.
Ooh.
And I went to college there. But yeah, so I went to Austin for college as a good child does to go to the prominent university in the state. You know?
Yes.
So the path was still clear there. Where the path got murkier is like, I don't know, I think I burned out. I burned out from having done all the clubs
Yeah.
and
For sure.
all that stuff. And I was a college tour guide, surprising probably nobody at
Whoa.
this
I know, I
point.
literally just learned that the other day.
Oh, maybe you guys
Yeah.
are surprised. Okay.
I'm surprised.
Okay, I was a college tour guide, which was to me just like, I mean, honestly, it was just like sick money at the time.
Yeah.
They paid me $20 per tour on top of an hourly wage.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
gosh.
So I was like making
How many
bank.
And
tours did you
everyone's
do a
always
day?
doing
3.
tour. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, you're making bank.
Yeah. Yeah, I could just pick up any, like if I wanted
As a
to work,
college
pick
kid,
them
I'm
up.
like, yeah, that's bank when you're in college.
Absolutely. And then
Yeah.
the hourly wage was actually pretty good for Texas. Like it was like $10 an hour,
Damn.
which was good for Texas at the time, especially.
Dang.
But anyway, that was my job. So I met a girl.
On
She was also
On a tour guide, was she taking the tour?
No,
or
that
was she like a
guys,
coworker?
high school tours. High school
Oh, yeah,
tours.
sorry.
I'm gonna redo that one.
Oh no.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
she was literally 16.
Oh my god.
That's horrifying.
Jesus
They had a brain
Christ.
fart.
Okay.
No, I met a girl at work. She was
Uh-huh.
also a tour guide, and
Cute.
she ended up being my first girlfriend. She knew I was a young Republican. Like she knew that about me, and I think she didn't believe it. She was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a government/rhetoric major pre-law, and I had this group called like a freshman interest group, and it was like the same 10 people. We went to all of our classes together, and there's only 2 Latinos in the group, and it was me and another person. And the other person was like the first person I've ever met. Her name was Michelle. She was the person I've ever met who identified as a socialist. And her and I were like
You were a freshman?
freshmen.
Okay.
And we were like all out war. Like we could not stand each other. But in a way where I think, to her credit, she just knew that wasn't who I was.
Right.
You know? And so she knew that I was like putting on something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she was so patient with me. And I started like failing out of college essentially my freshman year. And she came up to me and she was like, I know you don't want to hear this, but it's not your fault. It's called like systemic oppression. And like taught me all of that.
Ew, what? I
like-
feel like crying right now.
Yeah,
Like,
she's incredible. Like she works in
Wow.
DC now.
You guys are
like,
still
yeah.
besties?
We're still in contact for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just like messaged each other on Instagram and stuff. But
Yeah.
but she works in DC. She went to law school, stuff like that. So she did the thing.
Yeah.
But I did not. That helped me get through like a couple of semesters of college.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I was really struggling, and I think I was struggling on many fronts. So
Right,
like,
of
academically,
Yeah.
I was struggling with my sexuality.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting my first girlfriend, who ended up being my first girlfriend, and then I also met, because I'm a Pisces and Aquarius Venus, met someone else who's also had my attention.
Oh my gosh.
I really think
Of
it was
course.
that second girl too, who like kind of like drove me a little nuts. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like so deeply in love with that person at the time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I at one point just sat there and was like, "Fuck, that's what that is."
While you were having a whole relationship with somebody else?
While I was entertaining too. How about that?
Okay, I see.
College is college.
College.
Yeah, when you're
Yeah.
younger, I mean,
feel
like, honestly.
it's like not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one person was deeply into me, and one person was having me chase.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up getting into a relationship with a woman, and it was kind of like, as they say, all
The
downhill
second
from
one
there.
or the first one?
The first one.
Okay,
It's when you
sorry.
were 20.
When I was
Yeah.
20.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, at 20, I had my first girlfriend.
Were you like, I actually feel so at odds with my identity as a young Republican?
Yeah, I think when I was young, when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I would spout all this shit that I think I just knew that I needed to say.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I necessarily ever believed it. There were a couple of things that I think I believed because of how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
My family's in the military, so we're very patriotic.
Yeah.
And my dad works for Homeland Security. And at the time, it was a lot of like drug enforcement versus like now, which is like immigration.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, immigration, I don't know how I would have felt back in high school. I think I would have actually come to sooner.
You would have been radicalized sooner.
Yeah.
Sooner, yeah.
Mhm.
But so I had like a little bit of like law enforcement background that I respected and a patriotism that I embraced.
Yeah.
At the time, and I was like, would I say I was a young Republican? I was reading like Ann Coulter books. Like she was
Wow,
like
that's
my girl.
insane.
I think I said earlier that Condoleezza Rice was my hero.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
was my hero.
I think, okay, it's on both sides. Like there are Democrats who are so intrinsically obsessed with other Democrats, like saying what they think is right. But then I also think on the other side, it's like you almost have like you celebritize these people
Right.
in a way that's like it wouldn't even be what they're saying. It's just
Mhm.
like the side that they stand on.
It's true, and I also think it's like the for me watching the heights that they reached.
Yeah.
You
were
and,
like, I aspire to be that.
And what did they say that got them there? Right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even necessarily. I don't think Ann Coulter even believes what she was saying because
Right.
Ann Coulter is well known for going out in WeHo.
Do you feel?
She is.
Do you feel like being a young Republican made you feel powerful?
Absolutely, and I think that's the core of it. Like I think it was that I was very disenfranchised. Not in a lot. Like I did have a lot of privilege growing up in that my parents weren't poor.
Yeah.
They're incredibly middle class, but like my area, like some kids in my high school didn't have running water.
Right.
I knew kids who bathed with a water hose. So when that's the sort of like line of poverty, I did have a certain set of privilege, but at the same time, like nobody knew what the Rio Grande Valley was. Right. Like we said earlier, like even you from Texas just learned what the Rio Grande Valley was because nobody knew. And there's 300 miles of absolutely nothing from San Antonio down. There's absolutely nothing until you get to the Rio Grande Valley. Yeah. So it's like to be from an area like that, I didn't feel like I had to get out of there.
Right.
And so whatever I had to do to get out of there, I was going to do.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think there was a power grab for me, and there was something about my little high school brain. Like I said, my parents are lovely. They actually are super tolerant, super accepting of me. But at the time, my parents kind of had this sort of like, you've got it vibe. So when I could have used more parenting, I was on my own.
Totally.
So my dad worked a lot. My mom was a little depressed. So I was just spent a lot of time by myself. Yeah. And so left to my own devices, of course I'm going to make a power grab because I don't have anyone above me.
I mean, what's the alternative? I feel like,
Yeah. And there's always been a little something about me, I think, that enjoys it. So it's like, that part of it also plays into it. But once I got to college and I realized that I wasn't hot shit, like it was a huge university.
One thing that college will make you realize is
humble.
like,
there's 54,000 students at the University of Texas. Like all of a sudden I was nobody.
Right.
I was literally ribbon cutting in my hometown to nobody. So that was pretty humbling.
But some may say that that's sometimes what you need,
Absolutely.
like to kind of reframe your idea of your position in the world. Yeah. Like I do think that being also from a really small town, like our first stoplight wasn't put in until 2012,
What?
Like
that's smaller than mine, I think.
Well, the thing is, okay, so
crazy.
we're like in a tri-city area.
Okay, yeah.
We all shared one zip code, but in my specific, where like my mom lives now still, she's like chickens in her backyard. Like that, there was just no stoplights. Like it literally was like the other side where more of like the like more, I wouldn't say like affluent. Well, what's weird is like there's a fucking mansion that Faith Hill and Keith Urban like were touring when I lived there. Like it was like half a mile from me that you could walk to every day.
Oh, wow.
So it was really weird. And growing up, my parents lived on that side. And our house, like they built it from scratch. It was like $300,000 for like 5 bedrooms, and now it's like probably $700K. Yeah. And then my mom lives on the other side of the highway. But like, I think when you grow up in that small little, like the poverty line it's almost like so glaringly obvious. Yeah. That you're like, oh, I'm doing better than a lot of people here, and like I have the privileges of like I always had a car, and like my parents were doing
cell phone.
Yeah, we were never rich, but my dad, I mean, we were doing pretty well. And then when you leave, I mean, I came straight to California when I was 19, and that I was so fucking depressed because it really is like you become this like small little, not even a drop in the ocean, like whatever fucking is smaller than that, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I definitely remember the first time meeting a real rich person. And like that blew my mind. Yeah. Like she was incredibly nice. She was in my interest group. But, I remember saying, I think I made a joke about like my dad having a midlife crisis and getting a motorcycle. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, when my dad went through a midlife crisis, he got a jet. But she said it's so just
like
like
a PJ.
Casual.
yeah, private jet. And she
Wow.
said she said it just so like literally in the exact same tone that I did. I couldn't even
You thought she
fault
probably
her.
was joking.
Yeah, she said it so evenly that I knew she wasn't joking. And it was that like astounding fact that
Yeah.
she was not joking.
Oh my god.
That I was just like, I'm on a different planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
what in the world?
fuck?
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of like understanding that does radicalize you.
Yeah.
That you're like, whoa, wait, there is an actual systemic. There's systemic oppression.
Oh my god.
I think
crazy.
I think to hark back to like how did you get here? I think I would say that before I came out, even as a lesbian, I was made more aware politically,
Mm-hmm.
and that was more important at the
Mhm.
time. I think that needed to happen before I could even come out as
Totally.
lesbian, obviously.
Yeah.
But that political revolution in my head caused a mental fucking breakdown
Yeah.
because I had built all these structures in place, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like freaking out. I had planned my entire
Your
life.
entire identity was
Yeah.
shattered.
My entire identity, my entire life since I was 12 years old. Like all the experiences I
Wow.
didn't have because I was trying to keep my record perfectly clean for being in politics.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I used to like delete all my social media before it was like a thing. Like I was like, oh, I can't say that on the internet. Delete it.
Wow.
In like 2004.
You were your own PR person.
Yeah, I
You
was
were
like,
literally like the
crazy.
second you were radicalized, you're like, hand me a joint now.
Yeah,
Somebody
literally.
please
Yeah.
rack me a line.
Yeah, I like immediately started drinking. I will say that.
Yeah.
I was like, so.
I mean, how would you
When did
handle
you
that
start
kind of
partying?
information?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
crazy.
immediately started drinking. That's
Yeah.
for sure. My
Wait.
parents were kind of dumb and sent me to bartending school. Shout out to my parents. Actually, that was the best thing that ever happened.
What?
They sent me to bartending school, thinking like this kid's never had a real job before because
Yeah.
I was so
Oh my
focused
God.
on school.
Yeah.
How old were you?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
You can be 18 and a bartender in Texas.
Wow, didn't know that.
That's such a fucking weird
That's
thing.
so weird.
But yeah,
Traumatic.
it was pretty crazy. All my
Wow.
little friends sent my parents a thank you card senior year because I was always making drinks
You're
and
like,
stuff.
That's so funny. And
Yeah.
it's funny that like you say a socialist was the one to turn you out because that's how I was radicalized. I went to the International Socialist Organization parties at
Mhm.
UNT
Right.
as a sophomore in high school because the guy that I liked was an Argentinian guy who
She was Argentinian too.
oh my god.
And look, I love.
You're lying.
out
Listen,
here.
I
A
love.
radicalized Argentinian.
I'll say I love Michelle.
Wow.
I love Michelle.
Wow.
Hate Argentinians.
Okay, I
Don't
was
love
gonna say
them,
I know some people in
but-
this house that also hate Argentinians.
Yeah, but I mean, because they have such a
Rare.
storied history, right? But I
For
imagine
sure,
if you
but
are
somebody
radicalized,
could say that about the
Yeah.
country that we're living in.
That's true. But ask their last names.
I know.
But I will say, I think a radicalized Argentinian's probably extra.
For
because
sure.
There's literal Nazis.
Yeah,
Like,
no, totally. Yeah, I mean, I was not on the political track or the even
Right.
career track that you were, but I was just fortunate enough to completely fall. I wasn't even in love with this guy, but I did. That was the guy that I held my iHome boombox in my hand, and I was crying to teardrops on my guitar because he didn't like me back.
What a visual.
Because I was a
No.
freshman and he was a junior, and then later on, like we started dating when I was a sophomore. I remember exactly what I was wearing when I went to this like wine and cheese party as a sophomore with my boyfriend.
Wine and cheese. Are you sure you went on Young Republican?
Dude, and I was like, what am I listening to right now? Because they were all like graduating summa cum laude. They were all like top of their class. And I was like, something's going on here.
Yeah, I think and it's kind of funny. Michelle and I used to go at it quite a bit because, you know, she was the first socialist I've ever met. And she was absolutely correct in everything she was telling me.
Mhm.
But at the same time, she had incredibly rich parents and also went to, like, both her parents were like surgeons.
Yeah.
And she also went to a private school, one of the best schools in Texas.
Right.
And so whenever we get into arguments, I'm like, what do you fucking know about the real world? Like,
Totally.
you know what I mean? Like, I
Totally.
grew up in most, like, the poorest part of the entire country.
Yeah.
You have two parents who are surgeons. Like,
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
actually know? And that was like a very valid argument, I think.
It
you
is
know?
for sure.
But like, yeah, she was probably step number one for me.
Mhm.
I have actually told her this too, like later as adults. Like
Yeah.
I've messaged her before and be like, like you're one of the reasons
Yeah.
that I am the way I am.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was such a funny conversation. But it was her and then my first girlfriend. And then my first girlfriend was pretty radical as well.
Yeah.
She was very, 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 very smart. Some might say that's my type. But she
If
was-
you're stupid, I'm sorry.
sorry.
You don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there only gets to be one dumb person in this relationship.
XO.
And it's me. Yeah, she was the first person to introduce me to the term genderqueer. And this was like 2005. You know. And
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Nope, right, wrong. Sorry. 2009, she introduced me to the term genderqueer. I remember being like, I don't really understand that. But yeah, and so she introduced me to that. Like, not that it really radicalized anything in me or revolutionized my thought or even really sat with me. But years later down the road, I remember thinking like, you know what? Shout out to Sam for like teaching me that. Like, she taught me about pronouns,
That's
like all this stuff.
crazy.
And at the time, I think I was a little resistant, honestly, because I was such a leap from being a young
For
Republican to like,
That's
you know.
Oh my
huge.
gosh.
But it was there, like the seeds are
0
planted.
to 100.
Yeah, and so she did a great job at that. She put up a lot of bullshit from like a 20-year-old newly out college kid, and I was a bit of a jackass. But,
Honestly, but like kudos to you for like unchaining yourself, because a lot of people work very hard to continue to be so like barricaded by their beliefs.
Yeah, I think as I'm saying this now, right, telling you guys this, like the thing that I think is most important is that I had people telling me, right?
Right.
Like I don't know if I ever would have done this work myself.
Totally.
I fully admitted.
Well,
like,
where would you even start?
Yeah, exactly. It's too vast of a world, right? Like it's too much to handle at the very beginning. That's why I also had big giant freak out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But after that freak out, I went to film school. Which
So
you know,
now we have got to
I'm
the
about
point.
to be a cliche.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like I got my first
Oh my
tattoo. I went to
gosh.
film school. I smoked Marlboro Reds. Like
You said
I
I'm
did-
leaning in hard.
I did the whole
Lenient
thing. Definitely, yeah. That's that. My lesbian life was
you-
interesting.
Were you still at UT going to film school?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I stayed at the same university. I was still in Austin.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I had
Wait,
a
did
great
you
time.
always love film, or like what was?
I did.
seed?
I went Netflix. I don't want to give them too much credit, but you know, they used to mail you those little DVDs.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that Paris
was
is
the
Burning was
coolest
one of the
thing.
first documentaries I ever saw. In high school, we had a media tech program, and I used to make movies and always made little like short films and like music videos and stuff just for fun.
Yeah.
And I thought like that's for fun. That's not
Yeah.
that's not a real
hobby.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but then I transferred to film school and
Tell that to any
Yeah.
art kid.
I know.
only thing my parents said was you better get a job. And that's it. Like they weren't
And you're
gonna-
like, I
You're
will.
like, Sure, I
Yeah.
will.
Some will say I will have multiple jobs.
Yeah,
At the same time.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, I did the whole kind of like arty
Okay.
indie sleaze like Austin-y
That's such
vibe.
a hard pivot.
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
What was the UTLA was the reason why
Yeah.
you came out to LA?
Yeah, my university had a program that was sort of like a study abroad, but like study domestic almost.
Okay.
Like they send, and we're not the only university, but they send like 40 something to 60 something college students out
For how long?
a semester.
Okay.
Now I sound like an advertisement for the University of Texas.
Literally.
I'm falling
it's
straight
like
back into my like
study
tour
abroad,
guide. Yeah.
But
like-
in LA.
Yeah. I'm giving you like the PR statement.
You
for
don't
it.
know. You don't know which UT student is listening to this right now, trapped in their
I'm
fucking
screaming.
poli sci major. That is like, damn.
Switch
if he
now,
could
this is
do
your
it.
calling.
That
Yeah,
could be me.
this is your
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah, you should, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my
It turned out great for
God.
me. You too can be a trans man.
So you stayed here, or you went back to Texas? After
I
your
stayed here.
Semester?
Absolutely.
You just never went back.
I dropped out of college.
Oh my god.
I went from a young Republican who wanted to be the president
Wow.
to a kid who has dropped out of college.
But that's honestly
This point.
exactly
Wow.
what the president of the United States would say.
God.
It's a great talking point,
Yes,
isn't it? I rolled up
why?
my sleeves and got to work.
Yeah.
And now I'm president,
Oh my
bitch.
God.
No, yeah,
Wow.
I dropped out. I did the program. It's much better now, but I it was kind of bullshit at the time. We
Yeah.
had like a washed out former Disney exec as like our
Yeah.
program director, and he sucked so
What
hard.
year was this?
This was 2012.
Okay.
We all thought we like wasted our money doing this program.
Wow.
But it did bring us out here. It did provide us with a safety blanket. We all lived in an apartment complex together, stuff like that.
I
so.
mean, I think college is always just 25% education and the rest is just experience. Like,
experience and critical thinking.
yes,
most importantly.
Let's
absolutely.
hope we're,
Some
well, that's
people
like some
skip
people.
that
Yeah.
part, but yeah, some people
should
have
be a
absolutely.
requirement, but questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in a really weird apartment complex too.
Oh
That was
God.
maybe
what
part
area
of
were you in?
it was Burbank, but
Okay.
it was called the Oakwoods.
yeah.
Yeah, it was called the Oakwoods, and it was buildings A through Z. It's a massive place.
Massive.
Man, A
Um,
through Z.
And it was really well known for wannabe child stars. I moved here. Yeah, I moved here in the spring of 2012, which is also pilot season, famously in LA.
Yeah.
And the place I would say was maybe like 65 to 75% children who
That
all
is
came out from their
so
homes.
weird.
Whoa,
It
that
was
is so
really
weird.
strange.
I
Like
hate that.
It
I
sounds
saw
like
some
a
weird shit.
a docuseries
Yeah.
that needs to start.
It is actually called The Hollywood Complex. It's a documentary, not a series, but a
Sorry.
documentary.
We should watch that.
Wait, I want to see
Yeah.
it.
I watched it while living there. That was crazy.
That's
Did they
crazy.
film it while you were living there?
They filmed it 2 years previous.
Whoa. Oh my God.
But
weird.
the apartment, it's been renovated now. It's called the Avalon now. But
Mhm.
at the time, it hadn't been renovated since like 2002 or something.
Jesus
And
Christ.
all of the furniture, 'cause it was fully furnished.
Oh,
So all the furniture had like the vibe of like 2004.
it was like
let's say.
vinyl or
Oh.
something.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
had the same little like prints and stuff
Yeah.
like all around.
Oh
So
my
watching
God.
that documentary about these like children who essentially are suffering, but watching this
Yeah.
documentary on my little tube
In-
television. Yeah.
Wow.
It was
That's
crazy.
wild.
Very
In
meta.
one, basically a set of the scenes.
Yeah. And some of those kids had like been there for like 10 years, like they're aging out, like
Yeah.
da, da, da. It was such a I thought
Oh,
Yes.
I
sounds
thought this was
heartbreaking.
hell on earth. I was like, I
Dude.
can't live in LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And that I was a lesbian. And like as lesbian as you could probably possibly get.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God. Were you like
Yeah.
going out?
oh yeah.
Like what? Like
Where did you go?
where were
Oh,
you?
no.
Where were you going out, babe?
Yeah. I don't know if you
What's
guys
the
remember the
tea?
website autostraddle.com.
No.
But it was at the time a very popular lesbian website.
Oh my God, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, it was like not after
What?
Ellen, which is now canceled, but Autostraddle is still around. But at the time, like the early, like 2012, it was
Mhm.
probably like it was the most popular lesbian publication,
Oh my gosh.
like in the world. And I made friends with the girls who ran it, and so I actually also had a really, really crazy LA lesbian
Wow.
life.
Were you like
um,
partying all the time?
all the time? Like I was always in WeHo. There was just something called like Les Olympics, like lesbian Olympics. We did that.
Oh my God. Les Olympics.
Les
Yeah.
Olympics.
And I slowly like cut all my hair off. I had longer hair when I
Yeah.
moved here, and then I got like the typical like butch
Yeah.
haircut. But it was
Like
I also
fade.
had like not even well,
Oh
no.
my God. I was like,
had,
did you get a fade? Shut up.
I had a faux hawk, with like that it turned into a rat tail.
That is so
Oh my God.
funny.
There were not
Big
very many
dyke energy.
sleeves on my shirts. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that, including
Okay.
button
Muscle
downs.
tees.
Muscle
Yeah.
tees. I mean, they had a really big era.
Yeah.
Like
They
that
did.
was a lesbian uniform.
No, for
Yeah.
sure.
I would like to
It was
remind
a
everyone this
muscle
is
tee- The white
2012.
tank, the muscle tee to white tank pipeline.
Yeah.
that's-
I mean, what am I wearing right now, babe?
I
yeah,
know,
literally. I'm like,
literally.
that is exactly.
You know, it's funny because like we came out here at the same time, basically. Because I came out in 2013, January 2013.
Okay, yeah, I came out January of 2012.
Yeah,
So,
that's so crazy. I
Yeah.
wonder if we were in WeHo at the same time. I'm sure we were.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I was
It's
getting into
always there.
dude. The fake ID that I had, I don't
Oof.
know how it worked.
They
Okay,
didn't give a fuck back. I feel like it's like
Dude.
no. Like my best friend was like Latina, and she's like, "Here, use my ID," and like they were like not even giving.
You're like, I am Afro Latina.
Yeah,
okay.
they were not questioning it at all.
Take a
Like,
picture in the winter.
Exactly.
yeah.
I was like,
Exactly.
"Listen, it's summer.
Also, too, in Texas, did they ever have the weight on your driver's license?
The what?
Like someone's weight?
like,
Oh,
how much
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
weigh?
Yeah.
Really? Because I don't
Yeah.
remember any of mine having any my
Like your
weight.
fake IDs.
The
my,
reason why,
my mom lied all the time.
I just don't think I ever remembered it. But
Noticed it.
here, I saw it here because I was like, first of all, why are you asking me that? Second of all, the fake ID that I used, this girl was like fucking
You're like-
like maybe 4'9", 4'10", and she was
4'9"?
like 98 pounds. I was like,
Hello?
anyone with eyes could be like, what happened here?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But I still
You're
used
like, that's
it.
not
Growth spurt.
accurate.
I still
Growth
used
spurt.
it everywhere. Like,
Dang.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your first memory that you can even cite where you were like, I think I might be trans?
Yeah. Such a good question because I don't know if like I'm usually pretty good at pinpointing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I don't really have a specific memory, but what I do remember is the like euphoria of cutting my hair off for the first time,
Mhm.
which I feel like that sustained me for a
Right.
while, like as a butch lesbian.
Totally.
And like was comfortable in my identity as a butch lesbian for a lot longer than maybe I would have been. And I will say just to like go back very briefly to childhood, I also was always allowed to dress like a little boy. So I never really had like this sort of like, oh, like this is crazy,
Like-
this is uncomfortable until a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like tearing dresses off myself as like a child, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think is sort of what happens to a lot of trans folks, unfortunately.
Were you dressed in dresses at all, or you just never
Never.
wore dresses?
Never.
Okay.
The only time I wore a dress, I actually chose to because I
Yeah.
just felt like it would be weird if I didn't.
Yeah.
Was like prom one
Wow.
year, but I didn't go to prom the following year.
But you're like, I would be in a tuxedo if I had.
Yeah, and I thought about it because
Yeah.
I was running. I threw prom twice, so
Wow.
Yeah.
so yeah, it just felt like I don't know. I made the decision. Even my mom was like, "We can get you a nice little suit."
Yeah.
Like she was
Oh
really.
my
My mom's
God, I
always
love
been very
that.
supportive. Yeah.
She saw who you were.
Yeah, she definitely did.
Yeah.
Like she taught me how to do makeup,
Mhm.
but she always said, "Just in case."
As a life skill.
That's
As
crazy.
a life skill, literally, she's like,
You
"Just in
never
case you need it, but
know.
no pressure."
Yeah,
You know, like that sort
yeah.
of stuff. But yeah, no, I think the haircut really. I think when I first like really cut it down.
Mhm.
You know, I took baby steps. I had the undercut, as a lot of lesbians do.
Right.
Yeah.
I had it in the back of my head though. So
I've had to fight myself multiple times and be like, ugh, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't
Yeah,
do
Just like
it.
this.
no,
But I do
don't.
want the eyebrow piercing one day.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah.
that's gonna. We actually did a TikTok. There's a TikTok filter. You can see how the
I
piercings
know,
look on
and
you.
that
Yeah.
was giving me the most dysphoric feeling.
I'm not gonna
of my
lie.
life.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the nose piercing looked really hot on me.
Really?
Yeah, but
You
I'm
should
not
get it
gonna do
again.
I don't know.
Oh my
I don't know.
god.
It was like a hoop, but I was like,
I could see that.
Yeah.
my word. We'll
actually.
put the filter later.
I love that. I love
I
that.
could see that.
So now here in this moment of your life,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously none of us are in our final form, but this feels like maybe it's like your final form of your transition.
Yeah.
How are you doing like dating? Has it been weird? Has it been like an upheaval?
Yeah, I talk about this a lot, actually, especially like fairly recently.
Mhm.
Because I have dated since I've come out until now.
Yeah.
But I've been single for a while, and I kind of like took a moment to be like, what do I need, and what am I looking for? And
Yeah.
then when I kind of landed on like, okay, I'm ready to date. I'm ready to stop being a
How do
little
you think
jerk.
you like, came to that point though?
I've had a series of relationships that didn't work.
Okay.
Like Amy
and-
Kane.
Yeah, and Amy Kane again. Shout out, best therapist on the planet.
Shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just had a series of relationships that didn't work for almost exactly the same reasons every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, well, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
Like it's not the girls, it's myself. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like or what makes me choose the wrong type of person. But it is difficult being a trans man and dating, especially someone who's like so. And I hate this term. We all hate this term. We should all hate this term. But passing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I worked with queer youth.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And to see how harmful it was, the notion of passing.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And when I work with those trans youth, they all aspire to be as masculine as possible.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So for someone who kind of quote unquote achieved that goal, when I go into these queer spaces, like I don't feel welcome.
Mhm.
And I also understand why I wouldn't be welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird spot to be in. Like I was saying this recently, like, we went to a queer party together.
Yeah.
And I was much more comfortable when we went to the straight bar afterwards.
Mhm.
Like I felt like a literal weight off my shoulders
Mhm.
Wow.
and like a sigh of relief when we went. I will not name the bar we went to,
Right,
but
right,
No,
of course.
no, we cannot
but we
name
went to a
that
straight bar.
Which
Yeah.
it's so interesting because like when we think about queerness, we all want to achieve that level whatever of who we want to be and who we feel like we
Yeah.
want to see in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just the idea of passing has been such a stain on that. And like I do think sometimes even like it's an ebb and flow of identity.
Right.
And so I personally feel like if you just staple yourself into something, like sometimes it does hurt you more than it liberates you, I guess, from anything that you need to be liberated from.
Yeah, it's true. And
Mhm.
like being in these spaces, like I totally understand like that I look like a straight man.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can like femme it up a bit.
Yeah.
And like maybe pass as a gay man.
Put some
that's-
glitter on your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't want that's not me, right?
Right,
Like
right,
that's
right,
not who I'm
right.
gonna be. Like it's not me. I made a joke, I was like, what do I need to do? Show up in a mesh tank top and a harness?
Oh my
Literally.
God.
But
Get
like-
your nipples pierced.
Yeah, but-
Dreamy.
and like more power to those folks that want to dress like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Love it for them, but it's just
Right.
not me.
Yeah.
And never has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. It's definitely hard because I could understand from a queer woman's perspective. So obviously I date people who would want to date trans men.
I was
right?
gonna
So
Yeah,
it's
ask.
like,
I was
yeah,
agree.
I don't like bisexual women, pansexual women, whatever. Bisexual women going to a queer party are not there to meet a man.
Mm.
I know
Yeah.
that. they can meet a man anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Why would they go to
Yeah.
a queer party to meet
Yeah.
a man? So it's kind of rough
It's
in that
interesting.
sense.
Do you ever feel like you're coming out on the daily? I mean, I guess I have to backtrack. How are you meeting these people? Do you usually meet them in person? Do you meet them in apps where you blatantly say, like, I'm a trans man?
Yeah, in the past, most, and like I do think the dating apps are getting better about this, but also it's just such a complicated algorithm for them because in the past, trans men used to have to identify as a woman on the app,
You were saying
and then you can change your gender, visit publicly to trans man, trans masculine, male, whatever. But you have to identify as a woman on the
That's
back end of the app.
crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Are you
do you still
kidding?
have to do that, or do you not?
Probably not.
No,
I would.
I don't think so.
Well, why would you even have to do that in the first place?
Well, here's the problem.
Why were they?
Like,
Oh, because of the algorithm.
well, here's the problem. If I identified as a man, they would show me straight women. But if I identify as a woman seeking women, then they show me queer women.
Yeah.
So
so
it's to get the bucket.
The
of
algorithm wasn't
queer
as
women.
nuanced.
And so here's the problem that's changed. So I can identify as a trans man right off the bat.
yeah.
Right.
And then I have to say something like, it's been a while. So my other thing is I haven't been on dating apps in a long time,
Mhm.
or like a year. But I think it's something like, it's like a real mental gymnastics here, guys. It's like,
yeah.
It's
I'm
like,
what
I can
are they-
identify as a man, but then I can identify as a man who seeks women seeking women. Like, do you know what I mean?
Wouldn't that
That's
make
also a
sense though?
problem.
Because it's like gender and sexuality are not intertwined in the way that everybody
Right.
thinks it is.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
all you would have to do is state your gender and then state your sexuality.
Right.
It doesn't
The
seem like that
problem,
hard.
the problem is, I think what gets complicated for these apps, and I'm not sympathetic to them at all, but like just knowing technology is like, then it has to like take, if everyone can identify like that,
Yeah.
then it's like this huge bucket of people that you need to like place into bucket. It's just gets
I
would-
get
complicated.
it, but also like, come on.
you would
Like,
think that the algorithm is more nuanced.
At the
than
end of the
that.
day, what I ended up with in like, identifying how I want to identify is a lot of straight women. And then I get to have to come out a bunch and get asked, like they ask me a bunch of weird questions.
that could seem dangerous.
yeah,
to me.
I don't love it. So I've been off the apps
So
for
yeah,
a year.
no apps.
Wow.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've been meeting people in real life.
Mhm.
It's been working, but I like when you're on a dating app, you can go and have a date every week.
Yeah.
Whereas when
Yeah.
you're meeting someone, in person,
Organically.
organically, you like once every 6 months or something.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've never met somebody that I've dated organically.
Yeah, I think I've only met two people.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's tough.
It is difficult as hell. Have you?
Ooh.
You have.
Yeah, I feel like most of my relationships I've met organically,
Like through friends or like out
like
of a bar.
yeah, like friends of friends.
Yeah.
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 Well,
like,
I don't count that. Like I know I also have like relationships from work. I feel like that's like by
Oh.
proxy almost.
It's
Like-
a little bit organic.
I mean, it's
that's
organic
pretty
in the sense
organic,
that
'cause
like
it's like you're not like
Intentionally. going
yeah.
for the
yeah,
person.
okay, that
I
is
think
true.
that is
If
organic.
if we're viewing it from like a intentional going on dating apps, then yes, it's more organic than that.
Yeah.
But have you ever walked up to a person in a bar or had somebody
Yes.
walk up to you? I've only met one person.
I
Like
feel
that.
like we do know Nicole's game though.
I know.
Literally.
She's like, "What,
She
losers?"
literally would go anywhere and she knows 10 people there.
I
I'm
called
like,
her shy and her life was
Yes.
shattered. Okay,
the
so
rudest
like,
thing ever. Chris,
I saw the
literally,
light
I'm
drain.
still like so butthurt about it. Like I can't even believe
she
like,
doesn't even want me to be
no
here.
one has ever called me shy in my life, and now I have an insecurity about being fucking shy.
yeah, I when you said that, Chris, I was like, I've never heard that about Nicole ever in my
Also,
life.
it wasn't
like,
even
I'm
me.
gonna have
It
an
wasn't even
identity
me who said
crisis
it.
right
I think
now.
you were yeah.
It was the girl
Name
that I was
them.
there. At.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that bitch kept calling
That,
me shy. I
that
don't
girl
know
also
why.
we don't even she didn't even know us.
She was. Yeah, you were being a
No.
little shy. She
How
was
did she
correct.
find
Whatever.
our
I don't wanna-
event?
Her. She invited her.
We met-
So she did know you.
Talk about organic connection.
Yeah,
Yeah, we met her.
at a bar.
Me and Colby met
Oh,
her at a bar, and like she was
yeah.
cool, and like we were like, "Hey, do you want to come to our
That's
thing
so
tomorrow?" And
true.
she came.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't.
so
I didn't
true.
actually think she was gonna show up.
I
That
actually
was the
didn't
thing.
think she was gonna come either. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you know."
I mean, yeah, she does seem like somebody who would just show up like to a new thing to.
But
meet
also,
people.
I make sense because she was like visiting, so like I would.
Also, she arguably was way more extroverted than you are, and I don't even know how that would be possible.
Yeah,
so
she
maybe
really
on a
was.
scale from her eyes,
she's like,
you're
actually,
shy.
you're shy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
She was also British. So she
Yeah.
said something about you
I
being
can't say that right now.
you being bashful. I said I hate Argentinians.
Yeah. LOL. God, we're about to be placed on a list.
No, please, I love Argentina.
Did we ever say that in the recording in the event that this person was from?
No.
Yes, you did. You talked about a
did.
British girl, yeah.
So she probably was.
While I
like,
was sitting next
well,
to her.
that
my
fucking
God.
shy bitch over there.
Yeah.
She's like denouncing the.
She said you were
She's denouncing
bashful.
the Brits.
She said bashful.
Oh my God, whatever.
Oh my God.
Cry me a river.
Oh my
She's
God.
gone now,
Whatever.
Kate.
She is?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh
Back
yeah,
in
because
Boston.
summer is over.
Yeah,
Summer's over, guys.
Ew. I hate
So-
It's going to be
that.
100 degrees multiple times this week. Summer's not over.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like it's fall though. There's a fall feeling
No,
in the
girl,
air.
What?
Because you have
No.
central cooling.
Okay, I think it's
I was like,
okay.
what?
No, I think it's I think it's
It's 100
because my
degrees outside.
birthday is like in the very beginning of fall. Is
Yeah.
that I can feel this like change of like, oh, this gust of wind felt a little different. Like maybe
Sure.
I'm just too in tune with the world.
I don't know
but
what's going on.
maybe
here.
I'm too earth sign.
I need you to go
Yeah.
outside and see
Yeah,
how hot it is.
I know,
and
but
tell
the
me this
heat-
again.
It's not,
hot.
it's not the temperature, which is crazy. I'm gonna
It's
have
the
to.
vibe.
The next time I feel it, I'll whip
I'm
out my
so
journal and I'll write
confused.
about it.
Yeah. I need a
Um,
full report on this, please.
So, if you were to be able to talk to 16-year-old Chris,
Mhm.
what would you say to 16-year-old Chris right now?
I think you can't tell 16-year-old Chris shit.
Ooh,
So I would say,
tea. Bye.
you'll see. I think I would say you'll see.
You'll all see.
You'll see.
I'll-
You'll
I would-
ominous.
see.
I would think I would probably stare at this child. I'd feel a little sympathy for this person, and then be like, "You'll fucking figure it out."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I don't think you could have told 16-year-old Chris anything.
Well, I'm sure that 16-year-old Chris knew that they were going to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it sounds
didn't
like.
specify what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly am I figuring
Wait, what did
out?
you say
Don't
to
know.
your enemy whenever you're like,
Oh, I'll take it all.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
these one-liners from you?
yeah.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for coming
That's
on the
crazy.
pod. This has
Yeah.
been really
Yeah,
fun.
thank you
This is
so
great.
much.
I'm happy to accept your nomination as a new host.
Yeah. No, honestly,
we don't even
Nicole,
shy
today will
on
be
this
your last
podcast.
episode.
Oh my gosh. It's my last episode. I barely talked in this one, so sayonara, besties.
No, we love you, and you're the least shy
Um,
person I know.
No,
Whatever.
seriously, you really are. I'm
It's
so shy
ingrained in my
compared to you.
brain, so I have an insecurity now.
No. Oh my, she
your
said my first.
one.
I've never. Well, you know what?
Welcome.
You're welcome because
How do people,
fuck.
how do people deal with
This is-
insecurities?
That's on the next episode.
I just don't know how. Help me.
This is your first
I think that's why I
insecurity. I
was
do
so
not feel bad for
quiet.
you, bitch.
She's
Call it
No.
demure, as the kids are
Oh
saying.
my God. Don't revert back into the shyness that girl said you were.
She's gone
I'm
nonverbal.
going nonverbal.
Okay, well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
being here.
much.
I love you guys so much. And thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you
Thanks
made
for
it this
having me.
far.
Chat soon.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.